The White Sox are going to send him down to Charlotte to AAA to begin the year. He's going to play in, I don't know, what's the minimum? 11 games, 14 games. They'll probably let him go 14 so it doesn't look so bad, although I've already called them out this morning on the show. And then they're going to bring him up to avoid that losing that extra year of control. That's all it's about, guys. So you're going to miss Nick Madrigal for 2 weeks of the season. Then he's going to be in Chicago for the rest of the year, and he's going to put up numbers like I'm telling you. He never strikes out. He puts the bat on the ball, and last year in the minor leagues, he hit .311, 4 homers, 55 RBIs, and 35 stolen bases in only 120 minor league games. I think he steals 30 this year for Chicago. 30 for Chicago this season. Write it down. Call me on it. Tell me I'm wrong come September 30th, okay? Does he hit .311? I don't know. Maybe it's 280, 285. But with the bases that he's going to steal and scoring runs, I told you Chicago's good. So is Nick Madrigal. Michael Conforto, complaining with that oblique issue, headed back to New York to meet with team medical director Dr. David Outchak. Tweeted his side. I told you this on Monday. He did make a catch in right field over the weekend. He didn't play on Sunday. He didn't play yesterday. Underwent an MRI. Needs further testing done. Oh, no. Obliques and lats take a long time to heal. We talked about Verlander's lat. Now we're talking about Conforto's oblique. Coming off his best year as a major leaguer last season with 33 home runs, 92 RBIs, and he even had 7 stolen bases. Supposed to be the right fielder, supposed to hit cleanup or third. Too early to know how much time he will miss. But I'll tell you this. With abdominal issues, it's going to take more time than normal due to the fact he had to leave spring training in Florida on Monday for further evaluation. I'm questioning the severity of the injury. I think it's more serious than the Mets want you to think it is. And the Mets have historically stunk at medical evaluations. Their pitchers, they were horrible with a few years ago, whether it be Matz or Syndergaard or whichever one you want to be on that day. I don't have much confidence in them assessing Conforto thoroughly or correctly. They apparently don't because they sent him for further tests. Keep your eye on this one really close. I know I will. Because if he doesn't miss any time due to injury and he's back, then he's a second or third outfielder on your fantasy team. But if he's going to be out for a month or two, and then he's got to get his timing back, he becomes a fourth or fifth outfielder at best, I think. How about Danny Jansen and the job he's doing in spring training? So, on Monday, he hit his 3rd homer of the spring, his 10th RBI, and he's cool hand Lukin at .429 through 7 games. Now, last year he hit .207 with 13 homers, but this offseason reports are out of Dunedin that Danny Jansen has put more attention on his hitting than in spring trainings past. And he's hitting .429 this spring. I think the Jays are, I'm getting too excited, are going to score a lot of runs. I've already predicted them to finish 3rd in the AL East. I love this offense. And if pitchers like Ryu Shoemaker, who I will not spend 30 minutes on Matt Shoemaker today, okay? But I will say, if Shoemaker and Ryu can pitch as they have in the spring come regular season, the Blue Jays are going to surprise some people. They're not going to surprise me, but they're going to surprise some people. I'm not going to pick teams just because they're popular to pick. I'm going to pick teams based on their performances and their potential. And I love both of those right now on the Blue Jays. I got to talk about Jonas Cespedes just a little bit because I did read some reports. I was reading the New York Post. Oh my gosh, Jonas Cespedes with that heel and that ankle. He's running to first base now at full speed. He's hitting in simulated games. Can't make full turns yet, rounding bases. But like I said, he's running to first base at full speed. And he's making progress on those ankle and foot injuries that have kept him out since July of 2018. The Mets are being deliberate with him. Good. The question is, will he be healthy sometime this year? And is he draftable? I think Cespedes is the perfect last pick in your draft. Because then if he doesn't make it, you cut him. If he's not on the starting opening day roster, and he won't be, put him on your IL. Pick another player. But imagine the upside if Jonas Cespedes is actually healthy this year. Speaking of being healthy, Houston Astros outfielder Jordan Alvarez, knee problems, said on Monday the pain in his knees, quote, have gotten better, end of quote, and that he'll be ready for opening day. Now, Alvarez hasn't played in a spring game in over a week. He was taking part in activities yesterday, so I want to hear about reports today, the day after he was active. 2019 AL Rookie of the Year. He's still got time to get on track for opening day. He had some sore knee issues last year. Maybe this is just sore knees because it's just starting the year out. His ADP anywhere between 35 and 42. So, depending on how many teams are in your league, third or fourth round, right? Excuse me. Probably a third round period. It appears the knee injuries are just sore knees, and he should be ready to go. Another player, it seems like spring, all we talk about are injuries or people coming off injuries, and when can we expect them back? Because all spring training is getting the kinks worked out so you can play the regular season. New York Yankee catcher Gary Sanchez, otherwise known as the Great One, is on track to continue to take batting practice today. He took batting practice yesterday. He didn't play in games over the weekend. The Athletics' Lindsey Adler reported Sanchez will be back in action by late in the week. We'll see. The Yankees have maintained they're just being cautious with their star catcher, but I'm keeping my eye on Sanchez. We already know Aaron Judge has damaged ribs. He's going to be taken along slowly. Sanchez taken along slowly. Now, here's the thing about Sanchez. We complain about Judge, right, being injured. Well, Sanchez, tell me how many seasons Gary Sanchez has played in more than 125 games in his career with the Yankees. How many seasons has Gary Sanchez played in more than 125 games? I'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's talk about another injured player who is making great strides, and that's Cincinnati Red third baseman, all-time great Eugenio Suarez, who is to DH according to manager David Bell this coming Friday. And that will be great improvement, folks. Back in the lineup this coming Friday, He could possibly play on Thursday if his shoulder feels good. He's been brought along slowly. He's been swinging. Well, he started with one-handed swings, then two-handed swings. And now he's back in the lineup later this week. Should be ready for opening day and his 49 home runs from a year ago. That's got to lift Suarez's draft position higher. I will say, though, looking at it, there is no more stock third position than third base. That is the best, well-stocked position in fantasy baseball. But Suarez, if healthy, is near the top of the heap. No doubt about it. So let's go back for a moment. I asked you a minute ago, how many seasons has Gary Sanchez played in more than 125 games? And the answer is the number on the back of stars Al Oliver and Adam Ottavino. Just give you those answers. If you know what number Al Oliver wore with Texas, and you know what number Adam Ottavino wears with the Yankees, add those together, and that's the number of seasons that Gary Sanchez has played in more than 125 games. More hitters. Stay in Cincinnati. We just talked about Suarez. Let's talk about Shogo. The show will go is Akamaya, and he's expected to be the team's leadoff hitter this year, according to manager David Bell. Shogo, that does a lot for his fantasy position as an outfielder, as a base stealer. He averaged 23 homers per season over the past 3 years in Japan. He's got a great on-base percentage, according to manager David Bell. And that means he's going to bat first and Joey Votto second. Talking about some tables being set in Cincinnati, Ohio. If Akamaya can get on base, as his manager thinks, Votto is an on-base machine, and there they sit for the Suarezes of the world and the Castellanos of the world. Oh my gosh, the RBI totals coming from the middle of the red lineup this year could be absolutely to die for. Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Tatis. How many of you guys just love Fernando Tatis? I think he's incredible. I had him on multiple fantasy teams last year. The way he plays the game. I mean, reality, not just fantasy. The way he plays the game all out every day. Well, he was back in the lineup against the Dodgers. He went 1 for 3 in the games. He had an RBI. That game was a blowout, guys. The Dodgers scored 7 in the 7th. It was already 5-1 LA before that. They went on to win 14-2. But Tatis got 3 at-bats yesterday. Got a hit, got an RBI. He did strike out another time. Tell you a player that got a triple yesterday in that game. Josh Naylor, 1 for 3. And, you know, Phil Chaplin and I have been talking about Naylor now for a couple of years. If he's a starting outfielder in San Diego, I got to think he's a sleeper and a half. Telling you. Starting pitcher yesterday for the Padres, Garrett Richards, formerly of the Anaheim Angels, 3 1/3, no earned, 4 strikeouts. Richards' ERA on the spring sits at a minuscule, at a non-existent 0.00. That's right, you heard me right. Dodgers scored 14 runs yesterday. I just got to go through this box score. Seager got a hit. Pollock, 0 for. Bellinger got a hit. Kendall got 2 hits. Taylor got a home run. Kiki got 2. Pitching-wise for LA, Alex Wood, I just mentioned him in the show. Do this for a reason, guys. 3 1/3, 1 earned, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Gonsolin got the win in relief, 2 2/3, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Dodgers getting ready. Padres have won 11 games this spring. And then in the Philly-Yankee game yesterday, of note for both teams, pitching for the Yankees, Jay Happ, 4 innings, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts. He did surrender a home run. And who did he give that up to?